Once Phil Emery, the general manager, and head coach Mark Trestman were fired by the Chicago Bears organization, you knew this was going to be a very busy offseason for this team. You had to find a new general manager, a new head coach, a new coaching staff, and go about the process of rebuilding this franchise, rebuilding this team. After that disastrous 5-11 season in 2014, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that this team has a lot of work that needs to be done, and there is going to be a lot of work to do, and there's going to be a long road ahead. So the Bears have hired a new general manager in Ryan Pace, who in turn has hired a new head coach in John Fox. And now the next step along the way in that rebuilding process, the next step of the offseason work is officially underway, and that is finding the guys that will work with John Fox as part of this new Chicago Bears coaching staff. And this, to me, was going to be something very important to watch because the Bears needed to assemble a quality staff. That was something that was desperately missing under the previous administration. And frankly, when it comes to the quality of staff, you'd have to go back to maybe the Ditka days to really see a really, truly quality coaching staff at Hallis Hall with the Chicago Bears, if you're really being honest about it. And that's, 20 plus, almost 30 damn years ago. I mean, seriously, it's a long time. It's been a lot of this and that and a whole lot of not very good. So I have to say I'm at least impressed by new general manager Ryan Pace with his hiring of John Fox, in the sense that instead of going the cheap route like this organization would so often do, like they kind of frankly did when they hired Ryan Pace, he went out and got an experienced, proven NFL head coach in John Fox. Now, coach on top of that, that isn't just a name, but has a reputation for turning around football teams. He did it in Carolina, and he did it with the Denver Broncos. So that's a good thing. It's a good step in the process, so to speak. Now the next step has also impressed me, and that is who you were going to bring in to run the offense and the defense under John Fox. I love the hiring of Vic Fangio away from the San Francisco 49ers. He's somebody that, frankly, I thought the San Francisco 49ers should have and were going to name their next head football coach, but they ended up going with Jim Tomsula instead. When you look at Vic Fangio, here's somebody in Fangio that comes from an organization that has experienced recent success. Vic Fangio comes with legitimate defensive coordinator pedigree in his background. And not only that, a top-flight NFL defensive coordinator. Over the past several seasons, the 49ers have had one of the best defenses consistently in all of the National Football League. And the guy running the show and the guy calling the shots on that side of the ball, especially with an offensive-minded head coach in Jim Harbaugh, was Vic Fangio. I love this hire for the Chicago Bears on defense, especially because it may potentially represent a switch, a long-needed switch at that, to the 3-4 defense. What I've never understood about the Bears is for so many previously failed regimes, from Wanstead to Jaron to Lovey and now to Mark Trestman, one common theme of many was that all of them ran the 4-3. You keep changing coaches, yet keep the same defensive philosophy. I don't get that. If that philosophy has proven itself not to work time after time after time, why would you not change that? That would be part of the reason that you would make the changes and make these moves to get rid of the old and bring in the new. You would think they would bring in new philosophies. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that the Chicago Bears are going to run a 3-4 defense. I am not. However, I would at least, if anything else, be excited about the thought of getting more hybrid looks out of Fangio with that Chicago Bears defense in 2015 and beyond. And it still has that possibility to where the Bears make that switch to the 3-4, which has been so badly needed and has been so long delayed for whatever reason that may be. I love the Fangio hire. I think it's an outstanding choice. Almost would have been okay if they would have brought him in to be the head coach, frankly. But now you're bringing in a legitimate defensive coordinator, not some linebackers or secondary or defensive line coach to be your coordinator, a legitimate coordinator from an organization that has had and enjoyed some really nice recent success. 3 straight trips to the NFC Championship game, a trip to the Super Bowl where they came this close to winning it, based off of, in large part, the strength of that defensive unit that Vic Fangio ran and coordinated. That's a great hire. And then when we get to Adam Gase, we're talking about the Bears' new offensive coordinator, who replaced Mike McCoy in Denver and was Peyton Manning's right-hand man the last 2 seasons. What I will say about this hire is that I like the notion that the Bears will actually have a legitimate offensive coordinator to a degree and a legitimate defensive coordinator. Individuals that are actually potentially viewed as NFL head coaching candidates. As I referenced before, when was the last time the Bears had a really strong coaching staff? Like from top to bottom. It's been 20 plus, almost 30 damn years. Furthermore, when is the last time you could think of a Bears assistant coach being hired by another team while with the Bears to be their new head coach? I'll wait. You can't say Ron Rivera because he spent a few years with the San Diego Chargers as their linebacker coach before he got the Carolina Panthers job. The last assistant that I can recall is Buddy Ryan after the 85 season when the Philadelphia Eagles hired him away. That's almost 30 damn years. In order to attract new quality, you have to be able to have quality. Now, one thing that has been severely and significantly lacking in this Bears organization for many years is quality coaching, in particular at the assistant and coordinator level. Why would top flight assistants and young, hot brand names in terms of guys that can be future head coaches and be good ones, want to come to a Bears organization where you're not going to advance and you're not going to grow your brand, your reputation, your name, and you're not going to have people chomping at the bit to want to bring you in? Why would you do that? Well, now when you bring in Adam Gase and you bring in Vic Fangio, you're fixing a lot of that. A Fangio who's had previous NFL head coaching interview opportunities. A guy in Adam Gase who has had several recent NFL head coaching interview opportunities. These are guys that you bring them in that in some cases could be, both of them, head coaches in the NFL. That's a positive, especially now you could bring in people to work underneath them as quarterback coaches and receiver coaches and offensive line coaches, defensive line coaches, etc. You have guys that will come in that will be of a higher quality than what you would usually anticipate or expect out of a Bears coaching staff. So in that sense, I applaud the hiring of both Gase and Fangio. However, when it comes to Adam Gase, I have some concerns. First and foremost, no matter how much anybody wants to spin it, the fact is that in Denver the last 2 years, Peyton Manning was the offensive coordinator, not Adam Gase. Peyton Manning is the ultimate play caller, not Adam Gase. If you think anything other than that is true, and if you think that Adam Gase was actually the one that installed that offense, put that offense in, game planned with that offense every week, and called the final shots and plays on that offense, you're an idiot. It was Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's the one that brought that offense in from Indy. He's the one that taught everybody else what to do in it. He's the one that structures the game plan. He's the one that ultimately has complete and total control. We sit there and talk about it all the time when he wins, how great and awesome of an offensive mind and play caller he is. We can't sit there and spin it away from him when he loses and say, well, no, that's Adam Gase. Well, no, it's not Adam Gase. He was just a facilitator for Peyton Manning and kind of a sounding board, if you will. But that's a concern, and that's a problem to me. For a Bears offense that's so dramatically underperformed in 2014. You're bringing in a guy that's not even technically an established offensive coordinator because he was working with Peyton Manning the past 2 years. And as a result, when you look at him, you wonder how much input did he really have on the offensive side of the ball? How much is he really in charge and in command of an offensive game plan? How good of an actual functional game caller is he or play caller is he? These are significant concerns. And I just wonder if Adam Gase was really the right choice for the right organization at the right time here. Furthermore, there's a reason that other teams, namely the Broncos and the 49ers, didn't hire him to be their head coach. That could be stupidity, it could be other reasons, who knows. But at the end of the day, Gase had a lot of interviews, and everybody ended up passing up on him. At some point in time, you would think that would have to mean something, that something is a little bit amiss here, and something is a little bit wrong. Furthermore, when we're talking about bringing Adam Gase in to work with John Fox, granted, they had a couple of years of nice success in Denver, but at the end of the day, what did they do? They made it to a Super Bowl in a weak-ass AFC to get steamrolled by the Seahawks, and then the following year they get bowed out in the divisional round, dominated by a Colts team who went on themselves to get dominated and have their shit pushed in and deflated, if you will, by the New England Patriots. So I'm not going to sit there and be so giggly tits excited about bringing in an Adam Gase. I have significant concerns and significant questions that I don't think anybody's going to be able to accurately address and answer until the 2015 season actually begins. I understand where some people might also have concerns about the fact, why would you bring Gase in for one season just to sit there and have him potentially leave? And that's a legitimate concern as well. Like I said, it wouldn't be the worst thing, because at least then there would be some type of trickle-down effect, because the Bears would have had somebody that went on to be a head coach, what have you. But with that said, yeah, why would you bring in one or both of these coordinators knowing that potentially these guys, at least in the case of Gase especially, could be gone within a year? So you're starting up with something as you're trying to go through a rebuilding process, and a total, complete, full rebuild is needed, people. Do not twist the facts. That is the truth. What good does it do to bring in an Adam Gase to where he's only going to be involved with it potentially for 1 year, knowing that this rebuild is going to take 2, at the very, very minimum, 3, if not 4 years to accomplish and get done? You're bringing in an offensive coordinator that might be there for 1. Who knows what will happen? Vic Fangio, if he does tremendous work on the defensive side of the ball with the Chicago Bears in 2015, guarantee he might get some more head coaching opportunities. He might damn well get a job after the 2015 season. So after 1 season, you're looking at potentially losing 1 or both of the coordinators, and then having to look at either, hiring from within or bringing somebody else in and basically kind of starting over in some ways. That's tremendously concerning to me. So while this hiring of Gase and while this hiring of Fangio, gives some credibility to Ryan Pace and it gives some credibility to what John Fox is trying to do, I understand the concerns, because I have these concerns, and maybe some of you don't, but you should. What good does it do to bring in 2 coordinators that could potentially be gone after 1 season? Furthermore, doing it in this type of way suggests to me that maybe this Bears organization thinks that, frankly, they're a whole lot better shape than what they really are, and that their team is a whole lot better than they really are. And as a result, are they going to try and go too much in 2015 just to go 8-8 or 9-7 and establish what they're doing, and then all the while punt that ball down the road on this total and complete rebuild even more? There are concerns here. Let's not just praise this as the most star-spangled awesome thing in the world, because at the end of the day, too, as much as I like the hire of Fangio, the San Francisco 49ers, no matter what you want to say or not, ultimately passed on Vic Fangio to hire Jim Tom Sula. Let that sink in for a moment. At least, if nothing else, the Bears have brought in established, proven NFL coordinators to be their coordinators, guys that could potentially go on to be head coaches down the road. That is something that could have a nice trickle-down effect for the organization long term. But in terms of the X's and O's, pairing with the Jimmies and Joes for this team in 2015 and beyond, I'm not sure ultimately how significant these hires are and if they were really the best way for the Chicago Bears to go.